how does it feel when younger fans in their 20 somethings or even younger are shouting the lyrics of Judas Priest from the front row when you're performing live after all these years?
It does my heart good. It does this old metal heart good. I tell you, we've just finished a second leg of European shows and been on a little bit of a break before we come up to see you guys real soon to Montreal. Uh, and when you look out and you see this vast array of faces in Athens, Greece, at an outside venue, and the temperature is like 40 Celsius at 10 p.m. at night, and there's all these young metalheads clinging to the front rail, barely into their 20s, and they're screaming out every single word of not only breaking the law but panic attack. The you can't the words can't I can't find the right words to express this joy and gratitude that we have to our beautiful fans that have given us this long life. And it's on fire right now, especially with Invincible Shield.
Yeah, and well, the album is, after I heard it for the first time, it was to me heavier and more aggressive than anything you've done in at least a couple of decades. Where do you find the drive to go faster and harder on Invisible Shield?
It's really another expression of how much we love every element that's within this great world of heavy metal. And thank you for acknowledging that aggression and power in this album, because we really had the pedal to the metal to the floor. You know, the tires were burning, the engine was screaming, and that was the intent, particularly with the title track, Invincible Shield, and especially with the opening cut, Panic Attack. Um, you know, the drive, the power, the energy of this band is you can't stop it. You simply can't stop it. And the attitude and the discipline that we have within ourselves and the band, and the determination to go to places that we haven't been to before, in with the way that we make these new songs, is all part and parcel of what makes Priest this unique entity in metal. Kudos to everybody in the band for playing their hearts out, to Andy Sneap doing a magnificent job in production and engineering, mixing all of those parts of what makes an album sound like the way it does. Andy's work was just profound on this record. But everybody piled in. It's a team. Every band is a team. Everybody's got got the puck going to the goalposts, or the ball going to the hoop, or wherever. You're all aiming for that place, and we got there in a very strong way for this 19th studio album from Priest, Invincible Shield.
Absolutely. 19 studio albums. It's just crazy to hear that. And so, speaking of the band members and the team, Glenn Tipton, who's the original guitarist, has been sidelined for health reasons, and still played a couple of tracks on the album though. Will he still be showing up for any encores on the second leg of the tour, or you don't know or don't want to divulge yet?
We love it when we bring Glenn into the conversation, because he is still this, again, never give up, never surrender guy that has done so many important, majestic things in metal, from writing songs to performing songs, live and on albums, in the way that he has defined his guitarmanship. There is no other guitar player like Glenn. The way he phrases his lead breaks, especially. Listen to the phrasing on Beyond the Realms of Death. Listen to the phrasing on Painkiller. It's absolutely remarkable. So we have that. That will live with us forever in Judas Priest, for the band and for our fans. They're there. They're always going to be there. Then we quickly touch on this horrible Parkinson's, which can be life-changing, as it has been for Glenn. But his mind and his spirit are still in the best place. He's still able to make contributions like he did on Invincible Shield. He's like the poster boy for Parkinson's, and he smiles when I say that, because he is a guy, like so many people that are dealing with this illness, that didn't curl up in a ball. He still stands on his feet. He still fights, and that's part of his legacy uh, with this condition, but more so with all the great things that Glenn has done in representing the heavy metal of Judas Priest.
That's amazing, and it's good to hear as well that he's still himself and hasn't given up on that passion because as fans know for so long, the entire band has been, like you said, it's just you're so in love and they want to be a part of this heavy metal music and the lifestyle and everything that goes with it. It is just a beautiful thing to see. And well, speaking of obviously getting a little bit older and maybe your body's not up to par compared to what it used to be, and I use the word maybe loosely because I'm sure you will say it's completely different than what it was 30 years ago. But bands like, for example, Aerosmith, Steven Tyler has been having some issues with his voice, and for his health reasons, they had to put an end to their touring days. You don't seem ready for that yourself, and or are you even maybe not at the point where it's preventing you from doing it, but you're thinking, you know what, maybe I do want to relax a bit. Are you nearing that point or no end in sight?
First of all, a shout out to Stephen and Aerosmith, one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, to make that incredibly difficult choice and decision. It was tough, man. It was really tough. I think I think what Ian represents to me as a singer is that if you can't do the work, then it's time to hang up the mic. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm all for carrying on for as long as you possibly can, but if your work is starting to diminish, or you're going, you're not able to get to that place that you think is absolutely vital and necessary for yourself as a musician, and more so for your fans that love you and want to experience you at the best possible way that you're expressing yourself, then yeah, then it's time to think. That thought hasn't entered my mind in living memory, and I'm grateful that I can say those words. I'm not a superstitious person, but I do believe that if you think in those terms, it can affect your psyche. It can affect your spirit somewhat. So I'm all about living in the moment, living in the day, making plans for the future, and never letting the fire get lower than you want it to be. So I'm blessed that by the grace of God, I am blessed. The voice is still able to do the work that I want it to do. I'm the first to admit Painkiller in 2024 is is light years away from Painkiller in 1991 in Montreal, because that's on the internet, and I look at that with joy and a little tinge of sadness that I can't go to those places anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But if when the fans start saying, Rob, you know, dial it down a bit, I'll listen. I'll
Mm-hmm.
listen. But the fans are loving it. The fans are loving the voice. The fans are loving what Ian's doing, what Scott's doing, what Andy's doing, what Richie's doing. That's why we're coming back. You love us so much, you brought us back, you know. And if that isn't an expression of commitment to each other and support and love to each other, then I don't know what is.
That's very well said, and I think you encapsulated it right there because the fans just keep coming back, and thankfully you keep coming back for us as well. It's a beautiful thing to see, especially at this stage in the game for Judas Priest. I mean, over 50 years of heavy metal, it's amazing, it's remarkable, and thank you so much for being a part of that movement and keeping it going for so long and never losing the passion. You're I'm sure your fans, like, you'd be standing right next to them if you could be in two places at once. You'd be up on the stage doing it and right in the front row watching it happen and enjoying the energy coming off of the stage. And speaking of the stage, one more question before I let you go. Of course, just want to remind everyone here, Judas Priest back in Montreal here at Place Bell. You guys will be performing September 13th. Sorry, at the Bell Center downtown, September 13th. So now, usually I'm a motorcycle rider myself. Usually you ride your Harley up onto the stage during live shows. Are you still riding out there on the roads as well?
not as much as I would like for a lot of reasons. But the importance of the bike again can't be overstated. Um, it's this big, loud machine that smells and pisses some people off. It's got all of the attributes of heavy metal, particularly for those people on the outside who haven't got a clue about heavy metal. Um, and I say when I think about those people, I say, come to a pre-show. Lose your inhibitions. It's great. We're a great night out. Bring the kids. It's wonderful. Bring the dog. Um, so the bike will be with us in Montreal again. When the bike roars out of the speakers before I even come on stage, all the metal maniacs just lose their minds. The phones go up. It's a sea of phones, and I have no problem with that. I'll be the last person to say, let's have a debate about bringing your phones into a show because you paid your money. You can do whatever you want at pre-show. So hold your phones up because he's coming out on the Harley, and it's a great song, Hellbent for Leather. It says so much about who we are as a metal community, and it's always towards the end of the show where we're having a bit of a party. So we can't wait to recreate all of those feelings and emotions once again.
That's amazing. And finally, if on the topic of motorcycles, give us a couple of your favorite songs to ride to when you do, whether it's a Priest song or other bands when you're riding the
Well,
motorcycle. What gets you
your
fired up?
mind, I tell you, your mind. It's a great question, but your mind instantly goes to "Born to Be Wild."
Yeah.
That song has been embraced by the bike culture for us from the moment that song was created, and there's always this wonderful debate about that song when it says in the lyrics "heavy metal thunder."
Mm-hmm.
There's this idea: was that the first time heavy metal was spoken
Mention.
within the context of a song, or was it Burroughs, the great writer, who used it in one of his novels? Regardless, there you go. Without a doubt, to me, "Born to Be Wild" is like the archetypal biker song, and "Hellbent for Leather," of course.
Yes. Amazing. Mr. Halford, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for taking the time with us, as you always do. You're so generous with your fans and with the media, and we appreciate that. And we look forward to seeing you here in Montreal, September 13th.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sean. We love you guys. The priest is back. Stay hard, stay heavy, stay metal. We'll see you soon. Oh, yeah.